Hi there, in this video we are learning the Surds multiplication. So to begin with the examples, first I'm going to discuss what the Surds numbers are actually. Here you see that I have written three different numbers, which is square root 3, square root 8 and square root 16. So to simplify any surd number or any number written in the square root, we try to split the number with some multiple of the square number. Because we cannot rewrite 3 into any square numbers multiple, so we're going to keep it the same, and we cannot do anything with this root 3, so I'm going to just leave it for now. Now the next number is the square root 8. To simplify 8, root 8 can be written as 4 times 2, which further can be simplified as 2 root 2. We're going to look to the last number now, which we have written square root 16. And because 16 is a square number, so it can be simplified into a whole number, which is 4. Now I see that I've got the three numbers written and the three square root numbers, I simplified them. But what I noticed about them, this number remains in the square root form. The second root 8, even after its simplification, would remains in the square root form. The only number root 16 is changing into the whole number. So the numbers, even after the simplification, are still written in the square root form, are actually the surds numbers. So these are the surds. Where root 16 is a square number, so it will going to change into the whole number form. Now for the multiplication of the surds, we have got a rule, which is if the two surds number written separately, we can write them together in a product form, or if they are written together, we can even split them in the separate square root numbers. To begin with the first example now, we are having root 2 times root 6. So I'm going to write them together in the multiplication form, which is 2 times 6, and that would be 12. Now to simplify the square root number, what you're going to try to do it to split that into any square number multiple. So we can rewrite this in the form of 4 times 3. And because we know that this 4 is a square number here, we're going to now split this square root numbers into two different numbers. Now the square root of 4 is a 2, and root 3 is not going to simplify more, so we're going to keep it same. And the simplification of whole root 2 times root 6 would be 2 root 3 then. Now if you have got now, look to the next example. We are having 2 root 2 times 3 root 3. We have got the numbers written in the square root as well as we have got the numbers written outside the square root as well. I'm going to begin with the multiplication of the numbers written outside the square root. So I'm going to multiply these two numbers together. Now I'm going to multiply the two numbers written inside the square roots together, which is 2 times 3. We do the simplification step now. So this 2 times 3 makes 6. And this inside the square root numbers, when they multiply together, you would have 6 as well. We always look to the square root number and see that are we still able to split that into any number which is a square number. So this 6 we cannot split it more, so we're going to keep it the same, and that's the simplified answer. Here we have got the next example now. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply them together. So the multiplication of 15 with 3 would be 45. Now to simplify the square root number, I try to split that as any square number. So we know that 9 times 5 makes 45. Using the rule of the multiplication of surds, we can rewrite them in the form of root 9 and root 5. And now we know that because 9 is a square number, so it can be written as a 3, and this root 5 would stays the same. So the final simplification would be 3 square root 5. Let's have a look to the next example now. I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to multiply the numbers written outside the square root first. So the two numbers we have got written outside the square root is 4 and 5. We're going to multiply them together and multiply the numbers together inside the square root, which is 3 and 8. So the numbers written outside the square root is 4 and 5. The multiplication of that would be 20. And inside would be 3 times 8 would be 24. Now we're going to see that are we able to split this 24 into any square number. So this would be now 6 times 4 would be 24. I'm going to split it now. So 20 remains as a 20. This root 6 and root 4 can be written separately. And now because 4 is a square number, so that can be written as 20 times 2, and this square root 6 would remains the same. Again, the numbers written outside the square root, again we're going to multiply them together. So that would be 20 times 2 would be 40, and the simplified answer would be 40 root 6. Don't forget to check the number at the end again, that the number written in the square root should be in the simplified form, which means that you can't further split that number into any square number multiple. Now, this is the last example on the Surds multiplication. So I'm going to begin with the same thing by multiplying the number written outside the square roots together. We are having 8 and 2, so 8 times 2 makes 16. And the numbers written inside the bracket, you're going to multiply them together as well, which is 3 times 18. So 3 times 18 we're going to make 54. And now you see that, are you able to split this 54 as a multiple of any square number? So it would be 9 times 6 would be 54. We're going to split these square root numbers now. So 16 remains as 16. Then we are having root 9 times root 6. Because we know that this 9 is a square number, so this can be further simplified into 16 times 3 root 6. 16 times 3 would be 48. So the final simplification of this whole thing would be 48 square root 6. This is the whole explanation on the topic Surds multiplication, and I hope this video you find it helpful in understanding the topic. Thank you very much for watching the video.